There we go.
Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night, whenever you're listening to this podcast. Welcome to the Lawson Brothers podcast. You lost some hair since the last time we recorded.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I lost my hair, and I got new glasses too.
New glasses.
I really like them. I can see so much clearer.
Did your
now.
prescription change?
Prescription increased a little bit?
Okay.
Meaning, I guess my eyes got worse is what that means. But this was good news. My eye doctor said, and I think I've told a couple people this story, but my eye doctor said, Sam, your eye doctor when you were a child must have done a lot of good patchwork, because most people with your script lose their eye. I have astigmatism on my left eye.
Not lose their eye, like lose their vision.
Lose their vision,
right,
which is essentially losing your eye.
Well, I mean, it's still in there. It's not useful.
You're not like losing it as in like I lost my wallet a couple weeks ago, but this is like, no, you lose
Where was your
vision.
wallet? When you lost your wallet, what was it? Tell them where it was.
I spent with some other people. I had a lot of great help. Shout out Rebecca, thank you for your help. And other people, and James. And
thank you.
Yeah, y'all.
You showed up at my house twice, accusing me of having your wallet at my house.
I lost my wallet for about 72 hours, and I was encouraged to check the very place where it was the last time I had it, which was my front pants pocket. And so
that's
I walked into
where it was.
It was. I walked into my closet, like it was probably 9 o'clock. I looked all day long subconsciously looking all day long. I tried to have a great day at the Flowertown Festival with some amazing people, and got home that night and was encouraged to check the very first place that it could have been. And I walked into my closet, turned the lights on, and there it was, in a nicely folded pair of blue jean pants.
Right where you left it.
Braden, that's slightly hanging out of my pocket.
The advice there that I gave Sam was, Sam, this is what I tell every middle schooler who loses their cell phone or something else on a retreat. Go check your room. and their response is always, I did. And my response is always, go check again.
Dude, I looked,
normally, more often than not, they come back and they're like, hey, I found it.
I looked
right where I left it.
I searched my apartment up and down, except for the closet. Probably 3 or 4 times. I looked in my truck. You
were stressed out. You're stressed out.
I was a little bit. I really was. Usually, like, there's this thing that happens when I lose stuff that I'll just show up to my normal routine or whatever and do my normal activities, and it'll just be like floating in the air or something like that, like right in front of my face, or sitting on like my truck seat or something. Where I'm like, oh.
Well, yeah, you'd have found it the next time you wore those pants.
The next time I wore the pants, that would have been crazy. I'd been a little more stressed out. Probably I would have bought like a new license and all new cards
and goodness.
But it was weird. It was weird. Does anybody else lose stuff? Do you ever lose stuff, James?
Yeah.
What do you lose?
Keys.
Your keys?
I'm really bad about leaving my keys places. And in fact, I don't know if I ever told you this or not. One of the first, shortly after we moved to Summerville, I left my keys in Tara's purse. And she went to work at the hospital in the morning. This was probably maybe 2 weeks after we'd been here. I hadn't been here long at all. It was freezing cold, January morning, and it was Noah's first day of preschool at the church. And so I go to get my keys. We're living at the time in this little like 500 square foot. I'm not. You can't even call it an apartment. It's a 500 square foot like
cottage.
Converted.
Would you say cottage?
Yeah, it's a converted garage essentially. That the cottage. You can call it that. It had a kitchen and living room that was just the size of a bedroom, and then like a tiny little bedroom out on the back. And so that's where we were living that month. And go to get out my stuff and get in the car to take Noah to preschool. No keys. Can't find them anywhere. And there's only 500 square feet. Like, it's not like there's a lot of space for them to be lost in. And I realized they're in Tara's purse. Well, she's at work. She can't come back. So first day of preschool for Noah, he and I end up walking to church in about 25-degree weather.
I remember that, actually. I remember hearing that you walked your son.
I did
to the church.
Walked him to his first day of preschool. We weren't far away. Fortunately, we were not far away.
What a power move by a father, walking his son.
Oh, what else was I going to do?
I don't know, dude.
I had to go to work.
Nothing. That's the only solution. I'm just glad, like, Noah actually went with you, though.
He's one. Where else?
Was he one?
Yeah.
He was one?
Yeah, what else are we going to do?
Oh, wow. Never mind. I thought he was older than that.
Picked him up, bag on the other shoulder, diaper bag on the back.
I guess I'm just imagining.
Trucking down the street.
I guess in my mind, I was picturing him walking beside you.
Oh, no.
But you were carrying him.
I was carrying him, my stuff, his stuff.
That'll preach, too.
It was cold. It was cold.
Your father carrying you. Hey, great podcast content.
That's a good illustration there.
There you go.
I'll have to use that one day.
You should.
You should. Well, hey, we're going to spend today just kind of catching up a little bit. You know, we've been pretty busy the last few weeks here with
what's been happening?
All kind of stuff. So, let's see. Since we've recorded last time, we've had Easter Sunday. The boys had spring break, and that included a little family trip there.
Yep.
I went to a conference. You went to a John Mayer concert.
Yeah, several weeks ago.
A lot of things have been happening the last few weeks. So we talked a little bit this past Sunday about the idea of shared human experience. Well, music is definitely a shared human experience that, you know, you can hear a song that's from a different culture and a different language and find yourself just, you know, tapping along to the beat, or it just impacts you. I remember being in Israel a couple of years ago. And as we were leaving the Wailing Wall, we were walking out like around towards the temple steps at the old city of Jerusalem, and we passed a bar mitzvah celebration happening. And I mean, it was a big deal. There's like a band accompanying the celebration. Like the whole family's parading, you know, to celebrate this young Jewish man coming of age, and like it was funny watching our group just kind of like bob along to the music. Like, I didn't understand a word, you know, they were singing or saying. It was all in Hebrew, and yet there, you know, it's the power of music. Like we felt like we were celebrating in the middle of this bar mitzvah, and that's the power of music. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you think about the thing that makes human life go, which is the heartbeat. The heartbeat's a rhythmic thing, dude. Music is like, I mean, it is in us.
Music's in us.
We go to the doctor when we fall out of time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a great point.
I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah. No, I love that.
So it's just an interesting, like, we're wired to connect with rhythms, and we're wired to respond to it. And like when music happens that's pleasing to the ear, that's not dissonant, people react to it and respond, and music provokes emotion, and blood pressure, when it increases, the rhythm of the heart increases, and so you pulse, you feel it.
Yeah.
And when it slows down, you're like,
so all right. So
it's interesting.
There was I know you're not on social media, but there was a social media controversy lately on Twitter, especially. There's always controversy on Twitter. Right. That's partly why I like Twitter. To be honest with you, I just like seeing what people are arguing about. But this controversy was about the use of music in worship to evoke emotion. And there were people arguing that all worship music is manipulative. And I was like, do people not understand what music, like all music evokes emotion?
Right.
You know, like it's like, and that's from God, you know, like, I mean, how do we get through the moments of pain in life? Well, we worship through the pain, and it reorients our heart and our soul toward God. And I'm like, you're not trying to manipulate anybody. If we're trying to manipulate anything, we're trying to manipulate our own hearts, our own souls, and direct our own hearts and affections toward God. That's a good thing.
Yeah. If somebody
what are
asks,
your thoughts on that as a worship guy?
If you're asking me, like, I would definitely, I'm not going to be the one to argue against the fact that I don't play music to complement what's happening, because I do. That's like, that's the approach that I think, through not manipulating somebody for the sake of manipulation. But I mean, the reason why we play music, the reason why we think about these songs, and why, say specifically, you're probably talking about like the music that might be coming in at the end of the message.
Oh no, I'm just like, I know, like this,
just in
this
general?
whole controversy on Twitter was like worship music in general.
Oh, just
like the idea of like singing worship music is manipulative.
I think it's just garbage. I really think it's garbage.
I love it.
I do.
I love it. I agree. I'm
brutally honest.
Come on,
I think it's garbage.
That's ridiculous.
I think the people that might be saying that, I would be interested to know where their heart is, and I would be interested to know if those people are probably calling out pastors for preaching the gospel,
sure,
et cetera. I don't want to get into that and have a big target on my back. But there are a lot of people who are just being critical for the sake of being critical.
Sure.
And I also think musically, like, what I see my role in serving the church is to offer people a really clear doorway to walk through that opens up their perspective a little bit more to who Jesus is and what he's done for us. And the way that you do that is not by playing something that people hate. I mean, I want to be the best. Honestly, and I have no shame in saying this, I want to be the best musician that I can possibly be. I want to raise the standard for what I do. I want to know everything about music that I can. Why? Because God's given me a gift to steward. And if I limit the ability to be used by God because I'm not working hard, then I'm not stewarding that gift exactly how I need to.
And that's a great principle there. I can just pull that out, that, if God has given someone a gift, if God's given you a gift, if God's given you listening something that you're good at, don't diminish your gift in the name of humility.
Yeah.
And that sounds weird, but what I mean by that is go be excellent for the glory of God. If you're good at something, don't hide what you're good at. And, because you're afraid of what people might say, like, no, go be the best you can be at what you do. And then when somebody gives you credit, just send that credit on to God.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if you think back, man, like through the ages, the church has been the heartbeat of the best art, the best music, the best creativity. And somewhere along the way, we lost sight of that. Irv McManus wrote a book called The Artisan Soul. And his big line in that book was every single human being is both a work of art and a work in progress. And the point was that, hey, we're a work of art. We're God's masterpiece. That's Ephesians 2:10. We're a work in progress. We're clay being fashioned into the image of Christ in the earth. But part of that work of art mantra that's on our lives is that we are created to create. Like, we're designed by Creator God with the ability to create a better world and create beautiful things, whether you're a teacher or an artist or a lawyer, doctor, whether you're building a business or building your home, as a mom, a dad, whatever. Like, whatever your hand finds to do, Scripture says, do it as unto the Lord. And that's not a low bar. That's a really, really high bar.
It's a high bar. And I'm curious to know what you think about this, but this might just be more of a personal thought that I've had, is like, for some reason, people who are Christians who have talents, they run and they're afraid of, like, being good at what they do. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like I can't work hard because I don't want to be good, because if I'm good, people will see me as good. But, like, there's some lie or something that at some point in time that's coming in. Like, I'm afraid to be good at what I'm doing because I think that, I might become too prideful, which is a good fear, but it's
and that's a conversation worth, like, having. I think that's a perspective worth acknowledging. Success, the threat of success is always that we would internalize that success and begin to think that we did it, or it was our ability, our gift that enabled us to be successful, rather than realizing that, hey, all that we are and all that we have and all that we can do ultimately is a gift from Almighty God. Right. And, when you go into it with that perspective that, hey, if anything good comes of this, God gets the credit, God deserves the glory from it. That changes how we approach things. I think we then realize that, no, I can work hard. I should work hard. God God is worthy of my hard work, and if something's worth doing, it's worth doing well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You and I both have a really, really high bar for excellence, and I don't know. Quite honestly, it bothers me when people don't put 100% into what they're doing, and whatever that is. It's like, hey, if it's worth doing, and like we don't have that much time on this planet. So if you're gonna do it, don't halfway do it.
Right.
If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
Right.
Coach White used to always say, practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. And so what you do and how you do it, if you just think that like halfway doing something it's going to get you where you want to go, it's going to anchor that halfway mentality in your mind. So if you're going to do it,
that's something
do it right.
Something I tell myself is, Sam, do not insult the giver of your gift by not stewarding your gift. Don't insult the giver.
That's good.
That's
good.
He's giving it. Don't insult it by not stewarding
That's
it.
Good.
Be a steward. Work hard. And then, like, if you're maybe, I don't know, I've always struggled with I don't think as much recently, but there was a long period of time where I was trying to figure out kind of the direction and God's will, and had this idea of God's will being like this present on a mountain that I would hike to and discover it and open it up and be like, oh, there's God's will for my life. This is the direction. This is how it's going to look. This reality that I'm going to step into. But like, if you're like me at one point in time wondering what to do, or you're like, what is my gift? Because of this podcast, and we're trying to be helpful. Maybe a thought process is, what are you doing right now that God's already using? And what do you enjoy about that? What do you like?
What do you like? What are you good at? What is it that you do that adds value to the world? And sometimes I think we feel like we don't have anything, maybe, or you're like, I don't know what that is, or I'm just a whatever. I think that's sometimes that's the thing we fall into. It's like, oh, I don't have, I can't play music, or I can't write, or I can't speak in public, or I can't, I don't have a lot of money to be incredibly generous. But not like, what has God put in your hand? Whether it's raising kids, or a friend who you can speak life into, or, we all have a cell phone in our hands that we can send text messages with, and we can post things on the internet. Like we have a lot more to steward than we think. And I think sometimes it's just a matter of, sitting down and going, hey, rather than lamenting all the things that I don't have or that I can't do, what can I do with what's in my hand today for the glory of God?
Yeah. That's good, dude. So, what else is new?
Easter. Let's talk about Easter for a minute.
Sure.
You talk about Easter. Let's go behind the scenes a little bit on Easter Sunday.
I was actually going to say, well, no.
Say it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, following up the music conversation, we could totally just get into the fact that we listen to all our favorite throwbacks for several hours the other day.
We did. After Easter Sunday, we took off to the upstate to see family. We actually made a couple of trips over the spring break week. We left on Easter Sunday and went and had dinner.
We were in the car a lot.
And then came back to Summerville. We had, both of us needed to work, and Tara had some stuff she had to knock out for a couple of days, and had a flat tire, and that was kind of change the tire in the dark. And
my truck's been out for like 3 weeks now. Yeah. I need to get that fixed. So where do I go? Where do you go, listeners? What's your recommendation? I need some
AutoZone, man.
Is that the place?
It's not hard. Just, hey, I got an old truck up there.
And just tell them.
Need a headlight.
Tell them I'm kidding. I'm just being dumb. I'm just being funny.
Then call Dad. Dad'll tell you how to do it.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. I ain't calling him. Boy.
But yeah. So anyway, then
like I told you to be a man when you go down there.
Towards the end of spring break week, my brother-in-law and I went to a conference. We can talk about that later, maybe. And
sure.
While we went to the conference, you and Mom and Dad and Emily, our sister, and Lawson, our nephew, and then Tara and our 2 boys, you all went and did the tour of Atlanta.
It was something.
So anyway, y'all went to the aquarium and Lego.
Went to the aquarium, went to Legoland. We ate at Johnny Rockets for some healthy dinner.
There you go.
Before going to Legoland.
That's an Atlanta experience.
It was fun, dude.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Had a good time.
Legoland was intense. I've never been to Disney World, but I imagine that Legoland was like a glimpse of what like the world transformation feel is like.
It was
Disney.
Hilarious hearing the different perspectives on Legoland, because Noah, like, that was his favorite thing, and Judah's statement was, "There were Legos everywhere."
Yeah, there were.
Like, he loved it. Tara was like, "It wasn't that great," and then Dad was like, "It was awesome."
Dad loved it. It was my favorite thing about Legoland, dude. The virtual reality like roller coaster not roller
Dude, those
coaster.
things make my head hurt.
I thought I was about to puke everywhere in the room. This thing's like shaking my stomach around. And the older I've gotten,
it's the 4D stuff, man. It's like the goggles, and it's like my eyes
and
hurt, and my head hurts, and I get off, and it's like I don't feel well.
The graphics were incredibly disappointing. I was like, why do you want to put on these goggles to look around in a world that looks way worse than like playing your Xbox One?
So when we went to
this is not good.
We went to Disney, and like that's all. Like a lot of the new rides at Disney are kind of that.
Really? I don't want to go then.
It's awesome. That's the thing. Like, I haven't been to Legoland, but like when Disney does something, Disney does it right. But like it makes you feel like you're moving, but you're actually just like you're riding a Banshee in the Avatar ride or whatever.
Nice.
And, but I think the worst one, there's at Hollywood Studios, there's a ride called Smuggler's Run.
Okay. What is that?
It was the first Star Wars ride at Disney.
Oh.
And so you're like in this like cargo ship, and man, it's a fun ride.
Yeah.
But like about halfway through, every time I ride it, I just start sweating because it's like there's so many things moving and flashing, and you're shaking, and it's like, I don't feel good, and I don't know why I got back on this, because I knew this was going to happen, and I don't feel well.
Bro, I've seen you vomit in some disgusting ways before. You have such a bad stomach.
I do.
You have such a bad
It's gotten worse. Like, as I've got, growing up, man, I used to love roller coasters, I still like them.
You used to puke all the time off of roller coasters. But you still
love them. I love them. And that's my problem. Because it's like, this is going to be so much fun. I don't feel great, but I think I can make it through this one. And then sometimes it just doesn't work out for me.
I remember we were at Carowinds.
With a youth group.
With the youth group. With Sakona.
Uh-huh.
And it was summertime, right?
Summertime.
And
mid-July.
You had rode. We had all just gotten off this.
We got there. The backstory. What? We got there about midday.
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing we were going to do was.
You got to let me tell the part.
I will. We were going to eat lunch. Okay. We're going to eat lunch. And one of our sweet little boys had forgotten his lunch.
Okay. Did you give him your lunch?
I gave him my lunch.
What a good
Elijah
guy.
Turner. Elijah Turner.
Nice.
Elijah, man, if you ever listen to this, we love you. And I will never forgive you for this day, because I gave him my peanut butter sandwich and like half of my banana, and so I ended up eating like
we've been eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches and bananas our whole entire life.
I eat for lunch.
I bring that for lunch here today.
So I gave Elijah my lunch.
Yeah.
Now go ahead.
Yeah, you gave him. I guess you gave him lunch. I actually didn't remember that, but I just remembered
So I went into Carowinds on an empty stomach.
You went in on an empty stomach. Bad idea. Anyway,
good.
I got a story in a second too about going to the Simpsonville Fair this last summer.
I don't go to
by myself. But
I don't ride any sort of ride that people can set up and take down.
Dude,
I'm not getting on it.
This was my last fair that I will ever go to this last summer.
All right, go ahead.
But
tell the Carowinds.
It was a fun time. Happy birthday, Carson Strong. That was your birthday celebration this last time. You know Carson.
Good guy.
Real good guy.
Good guy.
What's the ride? It's the one where you do a flip. You back up.
It like shoots you out. You do an upside down loop-de-loop, and then you go to the top, and then you go backwards.
Yeah.
You just
and
go
back
backwards, and forth, kind of on that little loop-de-loop curly cube for a couple of times.
I remember we got off of it, and we're you're probably getting sick just thinking about it. We got off of it, and you and Tara had been together for like 25 years at that point in time. And
were we married then? No, we were not.
No, y'all probably weren't.
I was in college.
Yeah, you were in college.
Because Mark Canarney was leading this trip.
Was Mark there?
He was the youth guy.
Mark was
at Sakona. I was the summer intern.
And I would have been like middle school.
You were probably middle school.
7th grade.
You and Elijah both were middle school.
Well,
7th, 8th grade, 9th grade.
Yeah, because so you graduated high school.
I was 20. I was probably 20.
Okay, so this probably I might have been 7th.
You were 13.
7th or 8th grade or something. About to be in 8th grade. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, vividly. I mean, I'm watching this happen in my mind right now. I'm like on your left, and the group is there, and it's not a huge group of people that were there, but you're walking, and there's like a rail, and then like some trees between you and like the future vomit destination, and so you're like walking up the rail, and you're like, Tara, I'm gonna be sick. Tara.
She's like,
and
no,
she's
you're
like,
not.
Shut up, James. No, you're not. You're gonna be fine. Just keep breathing. Just keep walking. And Tara's great in moments of crisis like that with health stuff.
No, she's not. She has no sympathy for me,
which is why she's
a great
good.
nurse.
Yeah,
she has no sympathy for me. She will laugh at me in a heartbeat.
Because when you say you're about to throw up, everybody knows that it's coming. Everybody knows that it's coming, and it's going to be gross and disgusting.
But here was the problem.
What?
I knew, like, I was walking off the ride. I knew, like, there were a group of people behind me. We had a bunch of youth in front of us. Like, I couldn't stop and be sick. I couldn't make. I was not going to make it to the bathroom. So, like, as I'm walking, I just turned to the right.
Whoa! You're going to ruin it. Hold on.
Go ahead.
You said
finish the story.
You said like 3 or 4 more
Let's
times.
Move on from this.
Tara, and she's like,
I think you're exaggerating.
No, I'm not. I don't exaggerate anything.
Tell the story.
I don't exaggerate anything. That's the biggest lie I've ever told. But Tara's like, you're fine, James. Just keep breathing. You're like, Tara, I'm not gonna. Here it comes. And you turn your head. And I just remember your chest is forward, but your head is completely sideways.
I just kept walking.
You kept walking, and you turn your head, and projectile vomit is parallel to the ground. And you probably threw up like 10 feet away from you. It's like,
that's gross. Too many sound effects.
I hope nobody's drinking coffee right now or eating food and just vomiting.
But that was my goal. I was like, I can't like stop for this. I don't want to like. I don't want to like. I'll be fine. Like I just need to take care of this and just keep on walking. And so I did.
Like,
that's nasty.
Awful.
Stop.
It was so bad.
Stop making those noises. It's gross.
Somebody's laughing and enjoying the story. This is true.
True story.
This is a true story.
And that's a pretty accurate telling. I mean, some of the details may be exaggerated, but no, I got off the ride.
It was accurate.
Terribly sick. And she's like, "No, you're not." And I was sick. And
you look like a ghost the rest of the day.
No, I got something to eat, and I was fine. You gotta take some risk in life, you know. Whether it's riding a roller coaster, going on a solo music tour, or just taking a risk.
There's a saying. There's a saying.
And what you do.
Well, yeah, you're being serious right now. This is about to be funny. There's a risk. There's a quote that says, "Risk it for the biscuit, unless you're James, and you might throw it up." Risk it for the biscuit. You ever heard risk it for the biscuit?
I've heard that, but I don't think the rest of us.
I just say risk it for the biscuit, unless you throw it up.
It's not a saying.
I just made up the last little part of it.
All right, so I want to talk just for a second about Easter Sunday.
Oh yeah, behind the scenes. Yeah, go for it.
The opener on Easter Sunday was phenomenal.
Well, thanks, man.
It's very nice. Tell us about that.
The song "Blown Away." I didn't write it. I just learned it and tried to play it. It's a powerful song. Appreciate.
Let me just say, if you didn't hear that live, go to the Pinewood recording of Easter Sunday and watch the first couple of minutes of the service. Basically, the opener was the song "Blown Away." It's
Hillsong United.
Yeah, Matty Crocker and Joel Houston wrote the song, and they recorded it like with just an electric guitar. And so we were talking a few months ago, and like, hey, how do we want to open Easter Sunday? And we'll talk about the song in just a second. But like that song was the clear answer, and so you led
you
that
asked me
song
to do it
with just you and an electric guitar on Easter. Man, it was awesome.
Well, thanks, man.
How'd you make it through that?
How'd I make it through it?
Yeah.
I've been listening to the song for months, and the first little bit of working with it and hearing it is very difficult to make it through the whole entire song, because it really just tells the story from it's a brutally honest song.
It's the story of the cross.
It's the story of the cross.
Yeah,
absolutely, and it lands with a very personal idea of just being blown away that Jesus would do it all again.
Yeah, that he went to that length of the nails in his hands and the thorns, the crown of thorns in his brow, and his body pierced and broken, And
his arms stretched wide as he welcomed those Roman nails.
Man, and then there's so many lyrics in there that are just powerful.
And then Joel and those guys, they brought in a crazy line at the end lyrically. Said, "Oh, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, my God, why have you forsaken me?" I mean, good grief, people don't write like that. So thank you, Joel, and thank you, Maddie, for
powerful. I'm
being used.
Pulling the lyrics up right now.
How did I make it? I don't know, man. Any time, and I guess this is can I be serious with this answer?
Yeah.
I think as having the role of a, I'm a church musician. People call me a worship leader. People call me some people will say a worship pastor. I don't really have that title. I don't claim that title necessarily by any means. But
you pastor people though. You pastor people.
You have people that you just try to love people. Thanks.
You pastor people.
Thanks. And
you're welcome.
I think one of the most powerful things that I can do as a guy who has the position that I do in a church, right? Mm-hmm. The most powerful thing I think that I can do before leading worship on a Sunday morning and inviting people into that with me is I have to have a personal moment with these songs in private prior to that Sunday morning time. And really, I mean, I think it makes a world of the difference in delivery and being convincing and telling people, not being convincing as in like we're putting on a facade and trying to
like you're convinced
of
the truth of what you're singing.
I've got to be.
That's what
I've got to be convinced of that.
To our youth bands,
right?
You want to take the journey.
Take it.
Don't let when you lead the song on Sunday morning or Wednesday night be the first time that you're thinking through the lyrics and but like take that journey of worship yourself with the lyrics, with the music, so that when you step up to lead it. Yeah, like you're in the moment.
I was on a retreat in college and leading worship with some of my best friends. Thank you, Ryan Stanley and Dalton Kelly for this night. Honestly, after we had finished leading worship, we had played our sets for that night, and we were going to the place where we were staying, and had a very serious conversation with Ryan and Dalton, and both of them for a long time, and still in many ways are people that I've always just kind of looked to as examples, and I'm so thankful for their consistency over the years and their willingness to pour into me. They're just good guys, and they love Jesus, and they love the church, and they're willing to serve so many different people, and they do serve so many different people
for sure
every day. But those guys kind of enlightened me a little bit as far as the way people perceive or the way people could perceive me, and what they were doing was challenging me because they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and they pushed me to take a new step.
What did they tell you?
They said, "Sam, you look like an amateur when you're staring at the chord charts and the lyrics on a stand the entire time, and you're not engaging with the congregation." And what they were saying was not it's bad to have chord charts on the stage or it's bad to have music stands, because people are wired different.
Sure.
Some people are paid. Some people are volunteering their time and effort. That's not the conversation. What the conversation was, Sam, you have potential to raise the standard.
Goes back to what we were saying. Let's push that bar of excellence.
We're going to push you. Yeah. And they pushed the mess out of me for years. And still do today. And what they said to me stuck with me, because we got into it in a deeper way. You can say is more of a philosophical conversation from that point forward, because it was like how we lead worship matters.
Sure.
And so that conversation has driven me to that I had with them back in early college days, probably freshman or sophomore year in college, 2018, 2019, sometime in that time period. They drove me to think about the preparation process. And how decisions that I make before leading worship in a live setting impact the live setting. And so it was just, I think that's just been something that I've tried to work towards. And I don't always have every single lyric memorized or every chord memorized. Sometimes I just pull it out of my back pocket in the moment. Sometimes, but that also in and of itself is a result of preparation. Sure. Putting in time and having the
preparation
tools.
On the front end frees you up to be a little more spontaneous and free in the moment.
Jonathan, David Helser, Melissa Helser, they lead worship, and they have like a nonprofit ministry called Cagel Spurs, and they've put out music and stuff for Cagel Spurs, but they've also been long-time worship leaders and served many different churches throughout the years. They said in a podcast one time that the most powerful spontaneous moments happen as a result of the most preparation. Yeah. And so if you want to get to, and this is a choice that I made, is if I want to get to a place where I can lead in a spontaneous way by the guidance of a Holy Spirit in the moment, then I've got to prepare enough to have the tools ready.
That's good.
To be used in that moment.
Can I make a little application there for people listening today? So,
sure.
I think one of the biggest challenges for all of us in life is how do we let our faith translate to the day-to-day moments of life, to where, when an obstacle pops up on a Tuesday afternoon at work, or, our kids stress us out, or there's some relational tension that we didn't see coming, or the diagnosis comes back and it's not what we expected. Like, how do we make sure that we're prepared for those moments? Well, it's you anchor your life in the daily rhythms in what Jesus has done, so it's those private moments in the scriptures. It's those private moments with God in prayer. It's those, the quiet moments when you're driving down the road and you let your heart, drift towards God rather than, the weight of the world or the worries and concerns that are so quick to overwhelm us.
Yeah.
It's those private moments of preparation that allow our faith to come out when we're squeezed by life.
That's so good, dude.
And I think that's applicable whether you work in a church setting or whether you're, whatever field of career or stage of life you find yourself in, that we can't discount the quiet moments that nobody sees, that nobody celebrates, because that's where the strength is forged for those moments when, that when everybody's watching. The ability to stand strong in those moments comes from the strength that's found in those private moments.
That's interesting. I'm kind of trying to apply that and think through that in my own life, and I just was reminded of, you remember the song "Dear Friend" that I wrote?
Yeah.
And I released it for a little while, and I'm taking it down. But there were a handful of people that were very grateful for that song. I'm thinking about the writing process of that song. I wrote it in drop D on an acoustic, which Blown Away is in drop D on an electric with like this super cool tone stuff that you can dial in like they did, or do your own thing with whatever you want to do. But a lot of the vocabulary, musical vocabulary on a guitar, not real vocabulary words, but like guitar movements in drop D, Blown Away, coincidentally had a lot of the same vocabulary that I wrote the song Dear Friend with. And so like I was hearing when I listened to the song Blown Away and trying to map out the spontaneous arrangement that Matt Crocker did and then kind of do my own thing with it. What made it, I guess to answer your question in a more like direct way, what made it legitimately easier for me to learn it was I already had the vocabulary for the guitar playing in my hands from trying to steward something in private
a song
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh, it was longer than that.
Longer than that ago.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that's kind of a neat little tie that you just kind of brought to light. Thanks for it's interesting.
Well, hey, to wrap up today, I'm gonna actually read the lyrics from Blown Away.
Sure.
What do you think?
Yeah, go for it.
That's a great. To me, that is the Easter story,
right?
It's the fact that through the life, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, we find life. And our hope is rebirth from the ashes of destruction, and that's the prayer for my life and your life and all of our lives, that God can bring beauty beauty from what looks dead.
And let me amen to all that.
Go ahead.
I do want to say Easter Sunday behind the scenes as well. There were a lot of other people that put a bunch of work in to make Easter Sunday happen. Downtown, and also Upper Room, also at Pinewood. We had a choir. We had a choir out at Pinewood. They put a lot of work in. We decided I was kind of wrestling with whether or not we should go with the choir.
It's a great call.
With all the new changes with new services and stuff, and people were asking me about it. And I was like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is gonna be, it'll feel kind of rushed and last minute, but if y'all are down, and what's cool behind the scenes is that the choir for Easter really modeled what a lot of people have modeled up to this point at Pinewood and also downtown with the new service down there. Is just a willingness to say yes to something that they're being led to do. And it was cool. So there were so many things that, blown away. Yeah, it was a great moment. I think God used it. There were so many other great moments, too, that a lot of people put a lot of time into that we need to acknowledge as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, here's Blown Away. And I'm gonna read the lyrics of this. I'm going to tell a quick story, and then we'll wrap it up for today. Troubled Messiah, you prayed through the night, unbearable sorrow, the world on your mind. Betrayed by the kiss of a friend, you were taken by your own free will. Rejected and disowned by those you came to heal. Stripped of your clothes, you were mocked, you were beaten, made a king of fools. A crown of sorrow driven deep into your brow, yet you made no sound. Mm-hmm. What you went through to love me, I'll never understand. What blows my mind away is you love me as I am. And then here's the next verse. They called for Barabbas, a king for a thief, parading your kindness like rags through the streets, draped with the weight of the world on your shoulders as you climbed that hill, a burden far too great for flesh and bone to bear. You stretched out your arms as you welcomed those Roman nails, your body frail, the very hands that shaped the world, hung up to bleed. Lifted on high, crucified, him who knew no sin, the Nazarene, the Son of Man, the Lamb of God, Emmanuel, given to die. And then again, what you went through to love me, I'll never understand. What blows my mind away is you love me as I am. And then it jumps up an octave here. Yeah. Precious Redeemer, Lamb that was slain, hope for the hopeless, lifter of shame, friend to the sinner, grace to my soul. Death is defeated. Now my sin is gone, and I'm blown away. Yeah, I'm blown away. Crushed by the weight of the world that you came to save, you took my place. Your blood as rivers flowing freely to the ground. Yielding your spirit, you let out a holy cry as you gave your life. Oh, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Oh, my Jesus Christ. And then again, what you went through to love me, I'll never understand. What blows my mind away is you do it all again. Man, that's it. That's the gospel. And I love that through that story of what Jesus went through, we find the opportunity for forgiveness in life. And, I think there's a bigger conversation at play in the world today. And it's what is our hope? What is our life? What is our purpose and our meaning? And where do we turn when life gets dark and hard? And, John Tyson told a story at Speak, the conference I went to this past week, about Vincent van Gogh. And Van Gogh was an artist, but before Van Gogh was an artist, he actually wanted to be essentially a pastor, and he was rejected by the church he grew up in, and just had a lot of bad experiences with the church. Okay. So one of Van Gogh's most famous paintings is Starry Night. Are you familiar with Starry Night? Okay, very. So you've got the sky and the stars, and it looks like the moon and the sun, but it's hard to tell which is which. And if you look at the landscape there in Starry Night, there's a bunch of houses and the lights are on in the houses. Yeah. In the middle of all these houses is the church, right? And for Van Gogh, like, that's symbolic. Like, the church was supposed to be the center of his world and what he wanted to build his life around, but there's no light in the church. And the houses are lit up, the sky's lit up, but the church is dark. And I think to tie it all together, the lyrics of Blown Away and the message of Easter, that's the light of the church. And as long as we hold tight to the life, death, burial, resurrection of Jesus, the light of the church will shine brightly in the dark world. So
it's good.
Keep the light burning.
Let it burn, baby.
Let it burn.
Let it burn like that blue flame.
Hey,
integrity first. service before self, excellence in all you do.
Have a great Blue Flame
Hit
day.
them with it.
Go be the light.
See ya.